The anime opens with our main character, Sarah McKay, a plump fujoshi who cherishes the sight of men, often interpreting everyday situations with a boy love BL twist. While lost in her fantasies during gym class, she's accidentally knocked over by her classmate Nozomu, yet she remains unperturbed, entranced by the image that unfolded before the accident, likening Nozomu to the protagonist of her favorite BL series. Later, her associate Hayato checks on her and requests her to relinquish her bed to another injured student. Although a friend, finds Hayato's demeanor towards Sarah a bit cold, Sarah doesn't mind. Amae notes that Sarah frequently encounters handsome men like her senior Asuma and Yusuke, yet she solely appreciates their aesthetics, staying true to her self-imposed role of observer. That evening, Sarah is devastated when her favorite character from her beloved BL series dies, leading her to skip school for a week, refusing to eat or leave her room. Concerned, her mother contacts Takura, an older brother of a friend, instructing him to check on Sarah. They're both startled to find Sarah transformed into an astonishing beauty after a week of fasting, so much so that she barely recognizes her reflection. The shock extends to her classmates, many of whom start falling for her newly unveiled beauty, including those who previously mistreated her. Nozomu approaches Sarah, causing her to flee the classroom, reminded of the traumatic scene from her BL series. She stumbles upon Hayato, who's unexpectedly smitten by her beauty and offers to escort her to the infirmary due to a minor injury. At the infirmary, they meet Asuma, who recognizes Sarah despite her physical metamorphosis, mainly because her friendly demeanor remains unchanged. As she exits, Yusuke initiates an invite for a hangout, but the other boys also express a similar interest, leading to a group date with the four most desirable guys in school. Sarah seeks her friend Main's help in preparing for the date, discussing the potential disaster if the boys learn about her secret otaku life. Determined to hide her true nature, Sarah strives to act like a non-otaku, yet her self-control wavers when she admires her date companions from a distance, fantasizing about BL scenarios. Yusuke spots her, initiating their cinema date. During the movie, Nozomu drifts off to sleep, leaning on Yusuke's shoulder, while Hayato sheds tears despite his initial criticism of the film's plot. Asuma kindly offers him tissues, and these interactions trigger Sarah's fantasies once more. When Sarah steps away to the bathroom to regain composure, Yusuke pulls her into a further shoot, causing a flutter in her heart for a man for the first time. This romantic moment, however, is disrupted when Nozomu stumbles upon them, leading to a fight that excites Sarah's fujoshi imagination. For the remainder of the day, Sarah struggles to suppress her otaku tendencies, leaving her drained. As she departs the cinema, she gives in to her cravings and buys a pillow of her favorite character from a salesman. Finally, Sarah confesses her otaku side to the boys, fearing it might end their budding relationships. However, they aren't taken aback, particularly Asuma, who encourages her authenticity. The episode concludes with Sarah relaying her date's events to her friend Main and showing off the photos taken at the theater. The following day, Mizomo is taken aback to see Yusuf using the keychain Sarah gifted everyone after their date. Together, they head to the gym and marvel at Sarah's impressive volleyball skills, which puzzles Nozomu as he recollects her being just as good even when she was heavier. This prompts her peers to ask her to temporarily join the soccer club to fill in for an injured member. Despite her lack of experience, Sarah agrees, confident in the knowledge she has amassed from watching soccer anime. Everyone is surprised, and Yusuf proposes to assist in her training. He suggests Nozomu should help too, but Nozomu refuses, doubting Sarah's ability to learn soccer in a week. This upsets Sarah, leading to a heated argument. Sarah's soccer training commences, but the strenuous warm-ups leave her drained. As days pass, her performance barely improves, prompting the team members who solicited her help to regret their decision. Upon overhearing them, Nozomu confronts them about their attitude, reminding them that they requested Sarah's help initially, effectively silencing them. Observing Sarah's struggles to score, Nozomu advises her to give up. Sarah, however, is determined to complete the challenge and prove that, with perseverance and discipline, anything can be achieved. Inspired by her passion, Nozomu agrees to help her till the match day. During the match, Sarah's team trails 0-1, so she proposes a daring final move. Receiving the ball, Sarah aims for her own goal, but the ball takes an unexpected turn, scoring an incredible goal for her team. Back in class, Sarah relaxes, anticipating her vacation plans. However, her teacher reminds her of the upcoming exams, warning her that failing would lead to 2 weeks of additional school and no vacations. Asuma and the other boys offer to help her study, leading the group to the library. There, Mizomo attempts to belittle Hayato for being a year younger, but Hayato outwits him with sharp responses. Their dispute causes them to be ousted from the library, so they relocate to a family restaurant and eventually Sarah's house. Before allowing the boys into her room, Sarah conducts a quick cleanup to hide her otaku items. Meanwhile, her mother, delighted by the handsome visitors, attempts to glam up, but Sarah advises her against it. Nozomu, who had initially hoped the study session would be a romantic date, ends up helping Sarah with her studies. While Sarah is dealing with her mother, the boys stumble upon her otaku collection. When Sarah returns, she discovers her secret is out and decides to show them her shrine dedicated to her deceased favorite anime character. The unexpected arrival of Sarah's brother causes some tension when he attempts to expose her otaku nature, but Asuma defends her, reminding him that they all accept Sarah for who she is, effectively asking him to leave the room. Following the boys' departure, Sarah's brother offers her treats as an apology for his behavior. In the end, Sarah passes her exam and the boys invite her for a hangout, but Sarah's otaku interests take precedence. Several days later, the school prepares for a cultural festival. The boys suggest hosting a maid cafe, an idea Sarah enthusiastically supports. She, however, proposes that the boys should dress as maids, volunteering to craft the costumes for Nozomu and Yusuke. Concerned about his commitments, Asuma doubts his availability for the event, but Sarah reassures him of his potential participation. Simultaneously, she learns that Hayato will be playing a princess in his class's theater production and offers to create his costume. However, the workload is more than she anticipated and Yusuke offers to assist, with the others joining in as well. Sarah recalls her commitment to the history club, and the boys agree to substitute her while she works on the costumes. Yusuke questions Nozomu about his intentions towards Sarah, to which Nozomu replies that he simply enjoys her company. Thanks to the boys' aid, Sarah completes the costumes on time. However, her joy is short-lived as Yusuke confesses his feelings for her, followed by Nozomu and Hayato. Asuma suggests Sarah allocate her time equally among them, ensuring each boy gets a fair share of her attention without causing any disruptions. This arrangement seems acceptable to all except Sarah, who wish to enjoy the festival as a group. Her date sequence starts with Nozomu, but they encounter a large crowd, making it hard to find private moments. As Nozomu is about to make a significant move, Asuma intervenes, indicating the end of Nozomu's allotted time. Next, Asuma feeds Sarah in a romantic manner, making her uncomfortable, although it appears Asuma didn't intend for an indirect kiss. Next is Yusuke's turn, and they go to watch Hayato's play, holding hands the entire time, which distracts Sarah from the show. Lastly, Hayato takes Sarah to a horror house to demonstrate his bravery, but ironically ends up clinging onto her out of fear. They tumble, resulting in an unintentional and compromising position, causing Sarah to flee and relay the incident to her friend Amain, who finds it amusing. As Sarah ponders over her complex relationships on the stairs, a group of boys attempts to flirt with her. Frustrated and tired, Sarah impulsively strikes one, triggering a chase for revenge. The four boys intervene to defend her, but she detests further confrontation and demands them to stop. Yusuke realizes that he had moved too hastily and vows to take things slow. He suggests the boys dance around the campfire, a spectacle that mesmerizes Sarah and Amain. With Christmas approaching, the boys plan a party with Sarah, but she has her own plans to attend Comic-Con, the largest comic expo in the country. Asuma decides that they will accompany her, leading to a unanimous agreement for a post-Comic-Con party. However, they underestimate the time required. The next day, they wake up at 5 a.m. to catch a crowded train, arrive at the venue by 7 a.m., and endure over 3 hours in line to enter Comic-Con. Inside, the boys divide into teams to purchase magazines faster. The sales girls at various booths, similar to Sarah, are smitten by the handsome boys. Meanwhile, Sarah manages to complete her shopping and steps out only to be hounded by a cameraman insisting on photographing her legs, an experience she finds distressing. Sarah finds herself in an awkward situation when a cameraman continues to bother her, but fortunately, a young man steps in to defend her. He reprimands the cameraman in front of everyone, prompting the man to apologize and leave. Sarah thanks the young man, who is cosplaying a character from her favorite anime. The four boys soon catch up, and the cosplayer advises them to take better care of Sarah before departing, not without leaving a startling kiss on Sarah's hand. Later, they head home, but the heavy traffic drains their energy by the time they arrive at their karaoke destination. The only one still in high spirits is Sarah. The following day at school, she shares the previous day's experiences with Amain, mentioning the impressive cosplay of Sebastian, a character from her favorite anime. At that moment, the cosplayer appears and greets Sarah. She realizes that the cosplayer, who introduces herself as Shima, is a girl, and they quickly become friends. The boys are relieved that Shima is a girl, but her popularity among the other girls at school stirs feelings of jealousy. Sarah and Shima bond over their shared love for anime, and Shima invites Sarah to her house, boasting an impressive collection of anime memorabilia. The boys, not wanting to be left out, decide to tag along. Upon arrival at Shima's residence, they're awestruck by her wealth and dedicated rooms filled with anime collectibles. Shima then reveals that she is a renowned mangaka comic artist. For the boys to be welcomed into her home, Shima imposes a condition. They must pose together for photos, serving as inspiration for her next manga. The boys reluctantly agree, but as Shima increases the level of intimacy between their poses, they become uncomfortable. Sarah steps in to demonstrate the poses, leading to an unexpected stolen kiss from Shima, marking Sarah's first kiss. At home, Sarah is preoccupied with the kiss. While browsing the internet, she discovers a Valentine's Day contest sponsored by the creators of her favorite anime. The next day at school, Shima approaches Sarah to discuss the contest, but Nozomu intervenes due to Shima's assertiveness with Sarah. Despite this, Shima and Sarah connect and plan their entry for the contest, an aesthetically pleasing and delicious chocolate. At Shima's house, they begin to craft their chocolate, but Sarah struggles with making an appealing 3D design. Shima gets closer and helps Sarah, causing Nozomu to intervene due to his discomfort with Shima's behavior. Meanwhile, Yusu questions Shima about her intensity towards Sarah. Shima admits her physical attraction towards Sarah, suggesting that Yusuke and the others shouldn't judge her since their feelings for Sarah are similar. Despite numerous attempts, Sarah fails to create an appealing chocolate for the contest. Shima decides to give her own beautifully crafted chocolate to Sarah. Initially, Sarah resists, but the boys convince her to accept, pointing out the time constraints and the necessity of presenting the most attractive chocolate, which is undoubtedly Shima's creation. At home, Sarah decides to share a picture of her handmade chocolate, realizing that the love and effort that went into it mattered more than its appearance. The next day, she expresses this sentiment to her friends, who commend her for her insight. She then hands out chocolates to everyone. However, the next day, Sarah's classmates are surprised to find that she's gained weight due to indulging in the leftover chocolate. On seeing this, Nozomu and Yusuke are disappointed. In her haste, Sarah accidentally bumps into Hayato, who, along with Nozomu, devises a weight loss plan for her. Later, the boys see Shima celebrating with Sarah at a confectionery, commemorating Sarah's win in the Valentine's Day contest. Nozomu suggests that Sarah should strive to look her best before meeting the idols from her favorite anime, prompting them to initiate a rigorous training regime. This leaves Sarah utterly worn out. The next day, Hayato introduces a new exercise, hoping to spur on her enthusiasm, but Sarah takes it a bit too far, hurting her back and landing in the infirmary. Shima argues with the boys, stating they are causing more harm than good with their push for Sarah to lose weight. However, Asuma counters, asserting it is Sarah's decision, which she accepts. Despite this, Shima begins to overprotect Sarah. Tired of this, Sarah attempts to distance herself. Noticing this, Yusuke aids her in evading Shima's watchful eye and brings her to the school's terrace. Here, he reassures her that she doesn't have to lose weight if she doesn't want to. Moved by Yusuke's words and the support of her friends, Sarah renews her resolve to achieve her weight loss goal. Yusuke, touched by Sarah's determination, realizes his love for her extends beyond her physical appearance. Later, he shares his feelings with Nozomu, who is initially put off but resolves to support Sarah. At the gym, they offer Sarah a list of rewards contingent on her weight loss, all related to her interests. Encouraged, Sarah starts her training anew. After days of dedicated effort, she successfully loses weight. An unexpected reward, a staged kiss between Yusuke and Nozomu, sends Sarah into a fujoshi frenzy. Days later, Sarah arrives at school with a blank expression, brushing past her friends. At the confectionery, when Shima asks what's bothering her, Sarah reveals her newfound favorite character from another series. Shima, who is also a fan, starts a conversation that quickly devolves into a disagreement about the character dynamics in the series, leading to a fallout between the two. The next day, their visible discord concerns Akane, who inquires about it from Nozomu and Yusuke. Upon learning of their fight, Akane becomes apprehensive, as such disagreements among fujoshi can escalate into friendship-breaking disputes. Concerned about their friend's strained relationship, the boys plan to reconcile them. Asuma tricks Sarah into guiding him to buy anime figurines, while Yusuke convinces Shima to help him buy some for Sarah, thus setting the stage for their reconciliation. The boys successfully orchestrate a meeting between Sarah and Shima, asserting it's merely a coincidence. Holding them back from leaving, they all head out for a communal lunch. At the table, the boys stir a conversation about anime, hoping to initiate a dialogue between Sarah and Shima. However, Hayato's blunders remind the girls of their quarrel, culminating in a challenge to determine who's correct about their favorite anime characters. The challenge involves each girl creating their own doujinshi, uploading it to a manga site, and the one with the most views wins. Though Shima is warned this could sever her friendship with Sarah, she remains unfazed. Days pass, and Sarah is dedicated to completing her manga. Hayato, bumping into Shima in the school hallway, attempts to dissuade her from the competition, giving her advantage as a professional manga artist. Shima, however, dismisses his concern. On the day of publishing, they meet on the school terrace to reveal the results. Shima emerges victorious, with Sarah accepting her defeat graciously, though not changing her stance on her fanfic. Yusu congratulates Shima, yet points out her victory made Sarah, someone she cared about, upset, leaving Shima contemplative. Shima recollects her early days in school, remembering how Sarah's clumsiness and the joy she derived from it made her feel less alienated. She also appreciates Sarah being the first to purchase her manga. Later, Shima seeks out Sarah, but fails to recognize her due to her weight loss. Only after an event at Comiket does she realize that the attractive girl she'd met was the same supportive individual she's known all along. Meanwhile, Sarah, with the boys at a restaurant, avoids Shima's calls. Yusuke, ever the peacemaker, sends Shima their location, prioritizing their friendship over their shipping dispute. This leads to a reconciliation, with an agreement that both their anime characters should be versatile, leaving the boys perplexed. Days later, Sarah and Shima plan a visit to a sanctuary celebrating the anniversary of their favorite anime character. Though they initially intend to go alone, knowing the boys' lack of enthusiasm for the anime, they are surprised to learn that Asuma appreciates it due to its historical references. Hence, they all venture together to an old hotel where everyone, except Nozomu and Yusuke, is charmed by its rustic ambience. The evening is filled with playful pillow fights, with one ending with Yusuke atop Sarah, causing her to blush. The moment is interrupted by a housekeeper scolding them for the noise. The next day, the group visits a temple to offer prayers, followed by a museum showcasing the armor of their favorite character. However, their lengthy admiration of the statue causes a bit of a stir with the security due to other awaiting visitors. Asuma then suggests visiting the Lord's grave. After a long prayer session, the group heads to a restaurant where Asuma reveals that the grave they visited only housed the Lord's body, with the head buried on a nearby island. Excited, Sarah and Shima insist on visiting, despite the restaurant owner's warning about the place being supposedly cursed. Sarah and Shima's curiosity about the supposedly cursed island is stoked, leading them to devise a game to decide the boat pairings. As fate would have it, Yusuke ends up with Sarah. He encourages her to accept affection without fear and proceeds to hold her hand, which she allows. Witnessing this, Nozomu and Shima, in a fit of jealousy, ran their boat into Yusuke and Sarah's in an attempt to halt their flirtation. An unexpected storm separates the group into two, and Nozomu falls unconscious. On one side, Shima and Hayato, alarmed by Nozomu's condition, are relieved when Yusuke revives him with mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Shima, amused, captures this moment for her Fujoshi collection. Concurrently, Asuma and Sarah are also separated. When Sarah faints, Asuma tries to resuscitate her but stops when she regains consciousness on her own. After discussing their situation, they set out to find the others, only to realize they've been walking in circles. When Sarah succumbs to a fever, Asuma takes her to a nearby cabin. To help her combat the cold, he undresses her and holds her close for her safety. Upon awakening, Sarah mistakenly believes she'd been warmed by her fluffy cat, dismissing the experience as a dream. Their relief, however, is short-lived when they're pursued by spirits, confirming the island is cursed. The spirit of the samurai on whom Sarah's favorite character was based takes offense at those disrupting his lord's rest. Fortunately, an amulet Asuma bought earlier at the temple protects them. Still, Asuma struggles to hold off the samurai. Sarah, equipped with a similar amulet and knowledge about exorcisms from her Anon research, steps in. Her heartfelt speech about people's love for him touches the samurai, who agrees to rest peacefully. Back at the restaurant, the owner apologizes for accidentally serving hallucinogenic mushrooms. However, Asuma is dubious, given the damage to his amulet, leaving the group questioning the reality of their encounter. One thing they are sure of is the indirect kiss between Yusuke and Sarah. The next day, Nozomu observes the growing closeness between Yusuke and Sarah and feels excluded. He feels that his only connection to Sarah, his resemblance to her deceased favorite character, is no longer relevant. As he ponders how to reestablish his connection, his sister interrupts him to practice a dance from her favorite anime. It dawns on him that he wastes a lot of time on such activities. Meanwhile, Sarah announces her intention to work to afford convention tickets. Hearing this, everyone volunteers for the same job. Fortuitously, the job is a play about the anime Nozomu watches with his sister, providing him an opportunity to work closely with Sarah. However, Yusuke, wary of Nozomu's intentions, interferes when possible. One day, Nozomu faints from a fever, caught from not drying his hair the previous night. In a fever-induced hallucination, he forcefully kisses Sarah while she tries to feed him. Yusuke, sleepwalking, attends the play's practice only to find out that Nozomu has fallen sick and was taken home. Upon visiting Nozomu, Yusuke finds him in the midst of an inappropriate act with Sarah and without hesitation, punches him. Sarah, shocked by the events, flees the scene. Yusuke reproaches Nozomu for taking advantage of his delirious state to kiss Sarah. Upon regaining his senses, Nozomu is horrified at his actions and tries to apologize to Sarah through multiple messages, all of which she ignores. Her absence from rehearsals prompts the cast to consider replacing her. However, Nozomu's little sister insists that Sarah should participate. To fulfill his sister's wish, Nozomu visits Sarah at her house to personally apologize. Meanwhile, Sarah, bedridden with a fever and engrossed in a BL manga, reflects on the unpleasantness of an unexpected kiss, empathizing with the characters. Nozomu arrives at her house, but she refuses to meet him. In his desperation, he blurts out the truth, further embarrassing her. Sarah's brother tries to throw Nozomu out, but not before Nozomu hands her a gift from his little sister. This gesture persuades Sarah to participate in the play. During the performance, a group of fanatics causes a ruckus. Nozomu and Sarah confront them for disturbing the audience. Amidst the chaos, one of the cast members is injured and Nozomu steps in to fill the role. His familiarity with the choreography, thanks to practicing with his sister, helps them deliver a successful performance. Despite the teasing from his friends for appearing in a dress, Nozomu's bravery impresses Sarah, and they manage to patch things up. A few days later, the group visits Shima's beach house. Hayato, uncomfortable with his skinny frame and introverted nature, feels out of place. Shima goes surfing with the boys, but Hayato stays back with Sarah as neither of them knows how to surf. They enjoy their time together, watching Nozomu and Yusuke expertly ride the waves. Inspired, Hayato attempts to surf and surprises everyone, though he ends up colliding with Sarah. Despite the accident, Sarah forgives him. Later, overheard conversations about the girl's beauty from some men nearby prompts the boys to send the girls away to the beach and threaten the men. Hayato, unable to contribute to their intimidation, feels ineffectual and useless, which leads him to a bout of self-pity, resulting in him discarding the food prepared by Sarah and others. Overwhelmed, he decides to leave for home. The group, realizing he's gone in the wrong direction and is likely lost, splits up to find him. Sarah ends up separated from the group due to a collapsing bridge. Fortunately, she escapes unharmed and continues her search for Hayato. She eventually finds him, entangled in vines reminiscent of a scene from a yaoi manga featuring a cute boy and a tentacled monster. Suppressing her fujoshi impulses, she helps him out. They seek shelter in an abandoned building due to the rain, but it happens to be the hideout of the men they had encountered earlier at the beach restaurant. Recognizing that Hayato is the only one present with Sarah, the men attempt to kidnap her. However, Hayato doesn't remain passive and attacks the man holding Sarah. At this moment, the rest of the group arrives and together, they teach the men a lesson for threatening Sarah. Hayato apologizes for the inconvenience he has caused, but everyone forgives him, knowing his innocent nature. Accepting his weaknesses, Hayato decides to improve himself in order to be worthy of Sarah. However, he remains a bit clumsy, not even noticing where he is walking. Back at school, Asuna discovers a treasure map in the history club room and invites his friends on a treasure hunt. Sarah is the only one who shows enthusiasm, leading the others to join in out of concern for her being alone with Asuna. In the cave, Yusu questions Asuna about his intentions with Sarah. Asuna confesses his love for Sarah, but also expresses his affection for all of them. This response confuses Yusuke, who then asks a more specific question that makes Asuna realize that his feelings for Sarah are different from the rest. Suddenly, the cave's roof collapses, releasing bats and causing everyone to scatter, leaving Sarah and Asuna behind. A childhood trauma renders Asuna immobile, and Sarah guides him out of the cave, leading him to hug her out of relief. They eventually find the treasure, only to realize it's a prank from the previous history club president, Asuna's older brother, Kazuma. Days later, Kazuma arrives as a trainee teacher at their school. Despite not living together, he shows deep affection for Asuna in front of Sarah and Shima, leaving them surprised. Later, Kazuma and Sarah have a chat, which Asuna tries to interrupt, catching Sarah's attention. Over the weekend after Sarah finishes packing, she bumps into Kazuma, who invites her for a meal to know her better. Back at Asuna's place, Kazuma surprises him, revealing his meal with Sarah and complimenting her beauty. Asuna feels uncomfortable but says nothing. The next day, Kazuma visits Sarah to give her a limited edition doll. A book falls from a shelf, and he catches Sarah to prevent her from getting hit, bringing them extremely close. Seizing the moment, he compliments her beauty and attempts a kiss. Just then, Asuna arrives, admonishing his brother for inappropriate behavior with a student. In response, Kazuma says his status as a teacher will soon change. However, Asuna shocks everyone by announcing he and Sarah are dating, leaving Sarah speechless. She struggles to process Asuna's unexpected declaration. Just then, the rest of the boys, including Shima, arrive and bluntly reveal Asuna's lie. Kazuma is relieved to learn that Asuna's claim of dating Sarah was false. The boys realize their mistake, as now Kazuma will pursue Sarah unrestricted, adding another name to her list of suitors. In the corridor, Kazuma attempts to ask Sarah out, but Hayato intervenes, allowing her to leave. In response, Kazuma confronts Hayato, showing him embarrassing photos from a dress-up event. leading to Hayato's psychological defeat. During Kazuma's class, he proposes a challenge. Any student who answers a question incorrectly would receive a kiss from him. This stirs excitement amongst everyone except the boys. When it's Sarah's turn, Kazuma increases the question's difficulty, leaving her clueless. Yusuke sacrifices himself by taking her question and failing on purpose, expecting to receive the teacher's kiss. Instead, Kazuma refrains due to the professional boundaries, but insinuates a dating rumor between Yusuke and Nozomu, causing it to spread rapidly. Seeing the situation escalate, Shima decides to handle Kazuma, but ends up defeated when Kazuma showcases her first manga with her handwritten mistakes, leading to her embarrassment and surrender. With no other choice, the boys ask Asuna for help, believing that being Kazuma's brother gives him an advantage. Asuna confronts Kazuma, pleading him to stop his pursuit of Sarah, but Kazuma locks him in a closet, reminiscent of their childhood, reaffirming his serious intentions for Sarah. After a long search, the boys find Asuna, who is conflicted about whether to let his brother continue his pursuit or accept defeat like his friends. The following day, Kazuma challenges Asuna over the school loudspeaker, proposing a card game they used to play as children, the winner getting a chance to pursue Sarah. The card duel attracts significant attention due to their popularity at school. The match is intense, but Asuna wins as Kazuma underestimates him, believing him to be the same shy boy from their childhood. Emboldened by his victory, Asuna confesses his love to Sarah. Mishearing his confession, the boys pull him away before he can repeat his words. Asuna reveals to the boys his intentions to confess his love for Sarah, having realized she's the one he wishes to be in a relationship with. As a result, they all work together to prevent Asuna from contacting Sarah. Shima and Yusuke take Sarah home and block Asuna's number on her phone, while Hayato keeps a watch on Asuna. Even a letter Asuna sends is intercepted by her brother. Several days pass, and Asuna understands the boys' actions. He bypasses Hayato's surveillance, uses the school loudspeakers to ask Sarah to meet him after classes. The boys discover Asuna's plan. The boys confront Asuna, who responds that rather than hindering his love declaration, they should make their own confessions to Sarah, given they share similar feelings for her. Struck by this thought, they realize they've never confessed their feelings directly, which leaves them contemplative. However, they decide to meet Sarah at the Terrace and confess their love for her. Overwhelmed, she escapes to Akane's house seeking advice. Akane empathizes with the boys and Shima, suggesting Sarah should explore all possible relationships like in a dating game before making a decision. This idea resonates with Sarah. The following day, she proposes to the boys and Shima that she will go on a date with each one of them before making a decision. On her dates, Sarah observes that Yusuke talks a lot but occasionally utters sweet things. Nozomu proves himself to be amusing and capable with children, reflecting his role as an elder brother. Hayato, though clumsy, is reliable, while Shima shares her fujoshi tastes, making her a potential soulmate. Asuna stands out with his maturity and directness about his intentions. After these dates, Sarah is left more puzzled than before, unable to discern who stirs unique feelings in her. Upon returning home, a television program captures her attention and gives her an answer to present to the boys. A new season of her favorite show, Denim, is set to premiere, so she decides to focus on how this season unfolds, leaving the boys without a clear response. She reaffirms her deeply rooted values, stating that she prefers to be a spectator rather than a protagonist.